Katie Brooks pressed her face against the cold window of the supply shuttle and stared at the massive alien ship floating in space. 3 days ago, nobody on Earth knew aliens existed. Now everyone was talking about the giant metal thing that had appeared near the moon without any warning. Her father, Admiral Brooks, was in charge of all the Earth ships, trying to figure out what the alien vessel wanted. He spent every day on the command station, sending reports to world leaders and arguing with scientists about what to do next. Katie knew he was worried, even though he tried to hide it when he talked to her. The supply shuttle was supposed to take food and equipment to the research station orbiting Earth. Katie had hidden in the cargo area when nobody was looking. She wanted to see the alien ship for herself, not just watch it on news reports like everyone else. The pilot, Lieutenant Johnson, was too busy talking to Mission Control to notice an extra passenger. Katie stayed quiet behind the supply boxes until the shuttle docked at the research station. When the crew started unloading cargo, she slipped out through an emergency hatch and floated along the station's outer hall using a maintenance suit she had borrowed. The alien ship was even bigger up close. It looked like someone had grown it instead of building it. The metal surface had smooth curves and patterns that seemed to move when she looked at them. Strange lights pulsed underneath the hull like a slow heartbeat. Katie had studied the ship's layout from her father's files. The research teams were exploring the upper decks, where they thought the bridge and engines might be. Nobody had gone to the lower levels yet, because the military wanted to secure the important areas first. She found an airlock on the ship's underside that the exploration teams had opened but not used. Her stolen maintenance suit had basic tools, including a portable air supply and magnetic boots. Katie activated the airlock and stepped inside the alien vessel. The corridor beyond was unlike anything she had ever seen. The walls curved upward and met at the ceiling without any corners. Soft blue light came from somewhere inside the metal itself, making everything glow with a gentle radiance. The air was breathable, according to her suit's sensors, but she kept her helmet on just in case. Katie walked deeper into the ship, following corridors that seemed to spiral downward toward the center. She passed rooms filled with strange equipment and walls covered in symbols that looked like flowing water frozen in metal. Everything was silent except for the sound of her own breathing. After 20 minutes of exploring, she found something different. A large circular door stood open at the end of a corridor. Beyond it was a chamber with a high domed ceiling covered in tiny lights that looked like stars. In the center of the room, a suit of armor stood on a crystal platform. Armor was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. It looked like it was made from liquid metal that had been shaped into the form of a human body. Strange patterns covered every surface, shifting and changing as Katie watched. The helmet had a smooth faceplate that reflected her image like a dark mirror. Katie approached the platform slowly. Her maintenance suit's scanner was going crazy, detecting energy readings unlike anything in human technology. The armor seemed to be waiting for something or someone. She reached out and touched the chest piece with her gloved hand. The moment her fingers made contact, everything changed. The armor began to glow with golden light that filled the entire chamber. Katie tried to step back, but the metal flowed like water over her hand and up her arm. She expected pain, but instead felt a warm, tingling sensation as the alien material spread across her body. Her maintenance suit dissolved as the armor covered it, replaced by something far more advanced. The metal flowed over her clothes, her skin, even her hair, but she could still breathe normally. Within seconds, she was completely encased in the alien armor from head to toe. Katie looked down at herself in amazement. The armor fit perfectly, as if it had been made specifically for her body. It felt lighter than her regular clothes, but she could sense incredible strength and power flowing through every piece. When she moved her arms, the armor responded like a second skin. Then a voice spoke inside her head. Guardian Protocol 7. Activated. Welcome, chosen protector. Katie spun around, looking for the source of the voice, but the chamber was still empty. Who's there? She asked out loud. I am the Guardian System, created by the Eternals to protect worthy individuals against the darkness that consumes worlds. You have been selected as compatible with our technology and purpose. I don't understand, Katie said. What are you? What do you want? Images flooded her mind. She saw a race of tall, graceful beings working with incredible technology. She watched them flee from something terrible that moved between the stars, destroying everything in its path. She felt their desperation as they scattered Guardian armors across the galaxy, hoping someone would find them when the darkness returned. The Void Swarm awakens, the voice explained. They consume entire civilizations, leaving nothing but empty space. Your species has attracted their attention through your recent expansion into space. They are coming. Katie's heart raced. How long do we have? Based on current data, approximately 6 months before the first scouts arrive. The main force will follow within 1 year. She thought about everyone back on Earth. Her father, her friends, billions of people who had no idea what was heading toward them. What can I do? I'm just 17 years old. Age is irrelevant. The armor has chosen you because you possess the qualities necessary to stand against impossible odds. Courage, compassion, and the ability to inspire others. These are the weapons that matter most. Katie took a deep breath and looked around the chamber again. The star-covered ceiling now made sense. It wasn't decoration. It was a map showing the locations of other Guardian armors scattered across the galaxy. There are others like this? She asked. 12 armors were placed on your world. Only those deemed worthy can activate them. You are the first. The armor systems came online around her. She could suddenly see through the ship's walls, detecting the research teams exploring the upper decks. Her father's voice crackled over the communication system as he coordinated the investigation. She could understand the alien writing that appeared on the walls, revealing the ship's true purpose as an automated beacon designed to attract attention when the swarm began moving again. Katie realized that everything was connected. The ship's arrival, the Guardian armor, her decision to explore the lower decks. It had all been planned by beings who died long before humans learned to make fire. What happens now? She asked. Now you must prepare your species for war. The Eternals failed to stop the swarm through technology alone. Perhaps humanity will succeed where we could not. Katie felt the weight of responsibility settling on her shoulders. She was no longer just a curious teenager sneaking aboard an alien ship. She was humanity's first line of defense against something that could destroy their entire world. She walked back toward the chamber's entrance, feeling the armor adjust to her movements. Each step felt natural, as if she had been wearing it her entire life. The corridor ahead led back to the airlock where her journey had begun. But she was returning as someone completely different. The voice spoke again as she reached the door. Remember, Guardian, the armor's greatest power is not in its weapons or defenses. It is in its ability to unite others in common cause. Your species' greatest strength lies not in individual heroes, but in working together toward a shared goal. Katie nodded, understanding the lesson. She would need to convince world leaders, military commanders, and ordinary people to work together against an enemy, unlike anything they had ever faced. The armor would give her the power to fight, but humanity's survival would depend on their willingness to stand united. She stepped through the airlock and began the journey back to the research station, knowing that her old life was over and something far more dangerous and important was about to begin. Katie made it halfway back to the research station before the alien ship began to change. Lights started flickering on throughout the massive vessel, creating patterns she had never seen before. A low humming sound filled the space around her, so deep she could feel it in her bones through the Guardian armor. Her father's voice crackled over the communication system, sharp with worry. All teams report status immediately. We're detecting massive energy spikes throughout the target vessel. Katie knew she had caused this by activating the armor, but she wasn't sure how to explain what had happened. The Guardian system's voice spoke quietly in her mind. The ship's awakening was inevitable once I bonded with you. Do not fear the reaction of your people. They will need time to understand, but they will accept the truth when they see what is coming. She reached the research station's docking bay just as emergency alarms began sounding. Security teams were rushing toward the alien ship in small attack craft, their weapons powered up and ready. Katie's heart sank as she realized they might try to destroy the vessel before anyone could learn its true purpose. Lieutenant Johnson was preparing to launch another supply run when Katie appeared at the docking bay entrance. He stared at her, in shock, his eyes wide as he took in the flowing metal armor that covered her completely. Katie, what in the world happened to you? Before she could answer, Colonel Jake Murphy and Dr. Helen Price came running into the docking bay. They were the leaders of the research mission, and Katie had seen them in briefings with her father. Both stopped dead when they saw her. Dr. Price was the first to speak. Incredible. The energy signatures match the readings we're getting from the ship. You're connected to it somehow. Colonel Murphy had his hand on his weapon, but he didn't draw it. Miss Brooks, I need you to explain what happened. Your father is going crazy trying to find you, and now the alien ship is lighting up like a Christmas tree. Katie took a deep breath. The armor helped her stay calm, but she could feel everyone's fear and confusion. I found something on the ship, a suit of armor that was waiting for someone to activate it. It chose me. Chose you? Dr. Price stepped closer, her scientific curiosity overcoming her caution. What do you mean? How do you know it chose you? Because it's talking to me. Katie knew how crazy that sounded, but it was the truth. The armor has an artificial intelligence created by an alien race called the Eternals. They left it here as a warning and a weapon. Colonel Murphy grabbed his radio. Admiral Brooks, we found your daughter. You need to get down here right now. Within minutes, the docking bay was filled with people. Scientists, military officers, and medical personnel all crowded around Katie, asking questions and taking readings with various instruments. Some kept their distance, clearly afraid of what she had become. Others wanted to get closer to study the armor's technology. Her father pushed through the crowd, his face showing relief and worry in equal measure. Katie, thank God you're safe. What did you do? I found out why the aliens came here, Dad. They didn't come to invade or attack us. They came to warn us. Admiral Brooks looked at his daughter, seeing the determination in her posture, despite not being able to see her face through the armor's smooth faceplate. Warn us about what? Katie closed her eyes and let the Guardian system show everyone what she had learned. The armor projected images into the air above them, creating a three-dimensional display that made everyone gasp. They saw the Eternals fleeing from something dark and terrible that moved between the stars like a living shadow. The Void Swarm, Katie explained, as the images showed entire solar systems being consumed and left empty. They're a collective intelligence that destroys civilizations for resources and knowledge. The Eternals tried to fight them and lost. Before they died, they scattered Guardian armors across the galaxy as a last hope. Dr. Price was frantically taking notes. How do we know this information is accurate? This could be some kind of trap or deception. The Guardian system responded by accessing the alien ship's main computer and displaying detailed star charts in the hologram. The void swarm has been dormant for thousands of years, Katie continued. But our space exploration and faster-than-light experiments have attracted their attention. They're coming here. Colonel Murphy studied the star charts with growing alarm. How long do we have? 6 months before the scouts arrive. Maybe a year before the main invasion force gets here. The docking bay fell silent except for the background hum of the station's life support systems. Everyone was trying to process the magnitude of what Katie had just told them. An alien invasion force was heading toward Earth, and they had less than a year to prepare. Admiral Brooks was the first to recover. If this is true, we need to alert Earth Command immediately. Every government, every military force on the planet needs to know what's coming. Dad, there's more. Katie gestured, and the hologram changed to show locations on Earth where other Guardian armors were hidden. There are 11 more suits like this one scattered around our planet. The armor says, only certain people can activate them, but we need to find those people fast. Dr. Price was studying the holographic display with intense concentration. The energy patterns suggest these locations have been chosen for specific reasons. Population centers, strategic locations, areas with high concentrations of individuals who might possess the necessary psychological profiles. What kind of psychological profiles? Colonel Murphy asked. Katie felt the Guardian system analyzing everyone in the room, measuring their courage, compassion, and leadership potential. It was a strange feeling, like being connected to a vast intelligence that could see into people's hearts and minds. People who would fight impossible odds to protect others, she said. People who can inspire others to work together, even when everything seems hopeless. The armor doesn't care about military training or physical strength. It cares about the strength of someone's spirit. Her father looked around the room at the assembled officers and scientists. We need to organize search teams immediately. If there are more of these armors, we need to find them before the enemy arrives. Admiral, Dr. Price interrupted, we also need to study the alien ship more thoroughly. If it contains information about the Void Swarm's technology and tactics, that knowledge could be crucial for our defense. Katie nodded. The ship is basically a library and a beacon combined. It has detailed records of every civilization the swarm has destroyed, along with information about what worked and what didn't in fighting them. The Guardian system projected new images showing various alien species making their last stands against the swarm. Some had tried to hide, others had attempted to negotiate or surrender. A few had fought with incredible bravery, but were overwhelmed by superior numbers and technology. None of them had Guardian armors, Katie observed. The Eternals created these after they realized conventional weapons and defenses wouldn't be enough. They designed the armors to adapt and evolve with their users, becoming more powerful as the wearer learns to work with the system. Colonel Murphy stepped forward. Miss Brooks, I need to ask you directly. Do you believe this armor is telling you the truth? Is there any possibility this is some kind of elaborate deception designed to manipulate us into weakening our own defenses? Katie considered the question carefully. The Guardian system had shown her its memories, its creator's final desperate hopes, and the terrible weight of knowledge about what was coming. But she understood the Colonel's caution. I can't prove it's telling the truth, she admitted. But I can feel its emotions, its genuine desire to protect life and freedom. The Eternals who created it weren't conquerors or manipulators. They were people like us who faced something terrible and did everything they could to give others a chance to survive. Admiral Brooks made his decision. We proceed on the assumption that the threat is real. Better to prepare for an invasion that doesn't come than to be caught unprepared for one that does. Colonel Murphy, I want search teams deployed to every location shown in that display within 24 hours. Yes, sir. Dr. Price, I want every piece of information extracted from that alien ship. If we're going to war with something that destroyed an advanced civilization, we need every advantage we can get. Understood, Admiral. Katie watched as the adults around her began planning humanity's defense against an enemy they had never seen. The Guardian armor made her feel stronger and more confident, but she also felt the enormous weight of responsibility. She was no longer just Admiral Brooks' daughter. She was humanity's first Guardian, and everything that happened next would partly depend on the choices she made. The armor's voice spoke softly in her mind. You have done well, young Guardian. Your species shows promise. They face the unknown with courage and determination rather than despair. Perhaps they will succeed where others have failed. Katie hoped the Guardian system was right. Looking around the room at the determined faces of the people preparing to defend their world, she felt a spark of hope. Humanity had survived ice, ages, plagues, wars, and countless other challenges throughout their history. Maybe they could survive this too. The news about the alien invasion spread across Earth faster than anyone expected. Within 12 hours of Katie's discovery, every major government knew about the Void Swarm threat. Within 24 hours, the story was on every news channel, and social media platform on the planet. Katie found herself at the center of a storm she never wanted. Military leaders wanted to study her armor. Scientists wanted to run tests on her. Politicians wanted to use her as a symbol to calm public panic or rally support for massive defense spending. Some people called her humanity's savior, while others claimed the whole thing was an elaborate hoax. Admiral Brooks managed to get his daughter transferred to a secure military facility in Nevada before the media circus became completely out of control. A Guardian Protocol training facility was built in just 3 days, using prefabricated buildings and equipment rushed in from military bases around the world. Colonel Lisa Grant was put in charge of Katie's training program. She was a tough woman who had commanded special forces units in 3 different conflicts, but even she seemed overwhelmed by the situation. I've trained soldiers to fight human enemies, Colonel Grant told Katie on her first day at the facility. I have no idea how to train someone to fight aliens that can destroy entire planets. Katie was grateful for the colonel's honesty. 2. Many adults had been treating her like either a dangerous weapon or a helpless child who didn't understand the situation. Colonel Grant talked to her like an equal, which made the training much easier. The Guardian armor had been analyzing Katie's abilities since the moment it bonded with her. It knew exactly what she needed to learn and how fast she could learn it. The training program it designed was unlike anything in human military history. Physical conditioning came first. The armor enhanced Katie's strength, speed, and endurance, far beyond normal human limits, but she needed to learn how to control these new abilities without hurting herself or others. On her first day, she accidentally punched through a concrete wall while trying to do simple exercises. The armor multiplies your physical capabilities by approximately 50 times normal human levels. The Guardian system explained as Katie stared at the hole she had created. You must learn to think before you act, always considering the force you are applying. Learning to walk, run, and move normally while wearing the armor took 2 weeks of constant practice. Katie broke chairs, doors, and training equipment until she developed the fine motor control needed to function in everyday situations. Colonel Grant had to replace the facility's furniture 3 times. Combat training was even more challenging. The armor came equipped with weapons that human science couldn't explain. Energy beams that could cut through steel, force shields that could stop bullets and explosions, and the ability to fly by manipulating gravitational fields around her body. The weapon systems are controlled by your thoughts and intentions. The Guardian system taught her, you must remain calm and focused, even in the most intense combat situations. Panic or anger will cause the systems to respond unpredictably. Katie spent hours each day in combat simulators, fighting holographic enemies created by the armor's advanced technology. The scenarios started simple, with single opponents using basic weapons. As her skills improved, the challenges became more complex, eventually featuring dozens of enemies with advanced technology attacking from multiple directions. The most difficult part of training wasn't learning to fight. It was learning to lead. The Guardian system constantly reminded Katie that she would not be fighting alone when the Void Swarm arrived. She would need to coordinate with other Guardians, work with human military forces, and inspire ordinary people to fight against impossible odds. Your armor's greatest power is not its weapons, Colonel Grant explained during a strategy session. It's its ability to connect with other people and bring out the best in them during crisis situations. Katie discovered this was literally true. The armor could create communication links with anyone nearby, allowing her to coordinate groups of people with perfect precision. During training exercises with human soldiers, she could sense their emotions, understand their capabilities, and assign tasks that maximized everyone's effectiveness. But the ability also came with a heavy emotional burden. Katie could feel the fear and doubt of everyone around her. She knew when people were losing hope or becoming overwhelmed by the magnitude of the threat they faced. The armor expected her to find ways to restore their confidence and determination. Meanwhile, search teams were scouring the globe looking for the other Guardian armors. The locations shown in the alien ship's database were precise, but the armors themselves were hidden in ways that made them nearly impossible to detect until someone with the right psychological profile came close enough to activate them. First success came from Mexico City, where a former Marine named Alex Cruz was working as a security guard at an ancient museum. The Guardian armor had been hidden beneath an Aztec temple for over 1,000 years, waiting for the right person to find it. Alex activated it while investigating strange energy readings in the museum's basement. The second armor was found in Seoul, South Korea, by Dr. Linda Kim, a physics professor who had been studying unusual gravitational anomalies near the city's university district. Her armor had been disguised as part of an ancient monument, inactive until her scientific curiosity led her to investigate it more closely. Each new Guardian who joined the program brought different skills and perspectives. Alex Cruz had military experience and natural leadership abilities. Dr. Kim understood advanced physics and could help explain how the armor's technology worked. A 17-year-old refugee named Omar Hassan found an armor in Berlin and brought languages skills and a deep understanding of what it meant to fight for survival. Katie worked with each new Guardian as they arrived at the training facility. The armor systems were designed to work together, creating a network that made all of them more effective when they fought as a team. But each person's individual personality and experience shaped how their armor developed, creating unique combinations of abilities. The training program expanded as more Guardians joined. Combat exercises became more complex, featuring multiple Guardians working together against increasingly difficult scenarios. Strategy sessions included input from military experts, scientists, and world leaders who were coordinating Earth's defense efforts. But the most important part of Katie's training happened away from the combat simulators and strategy rooms. Every evening, she spent time reading messages from ordinary people around the world. Letters from children asking if she was really going to protect them. Notes from parents thanking her for giving them hope. Messages from teenagers her own age who understood the pressure she was facing. The armor chose you for reasons beyond your individual capabilities. The Guardian system reminded her one evening as she read through hundreds of supportive messages. It chose you because you represent the best qualities of your species: courage, compassion, and the refusal to give up even when facing impossible odds. Katie was beginning to understand that the Guardian armor wasn't just a weapon or a suit of protective equipment. It was a symbol of hope that gave people something to believe in during the darkest time in human history. Every person who looked at her and felt inspired to be braver, to work harder, or to help their neighbors was as important to Earth's defense as any weapon system. The training facility received daily updates from deep space monitoring stations. Long-range sensors were detecting disturbing movements in the outer solar system. The Void Swarm scouts were moving faster than the alien database had predicted, and their technology seemed more advanced than the records from previous invasions. Colonel Grant called Katie into her office 6 weeks after training had begun. The older woman's face was grim as she shared the latest intelligence reports. "The timeline has changed," she said. "Our best estimates now suggest first contact will happen within days, not months. The scouts are already inside our solar system, and they're moving toward Earth." Katie felt a chill run through her, despite the armor's protective warmth. "Are we ready?" "We have 7 Guardians active and operational. The other 5 armors haven't been found yet. Our military forces are as prepared as they can be given the time constraints. The real question is whether humanity is ready to face something like this." Katie thought about all the messages she had received from people around the world. Parents who were teaching their children to be brave. Workers who were volunteering for dangerous jobs to help with defense preparations. Ordinary people who were choosing to hope instead of despair. "We're as ready as we can be," she said. "The armor taught me that our greatest strength isn't in our weapons or our technology. It's in our refusal to give up on each other." "Colonel," Grant nodded. "Then let's hope that's enough." Outside the facility's windows, Katie could see stars beginning to appear in the evening sky. Somewhere among those distant points of light, an enemy was approaching that had destroyed civilizations far more advanced than humanity. But for the first time since this all began, Katie felt truly confident about their chances. The Guardian armor had been created by a dying race as their final desperate hope. The alarm bells started ringing at exactly 6:47 on a Tuesday morning. Katie was in the middle of combat training when every screen in the facility suddenly switched to emergency broadcasts from Earth's deep space monitoring stations. Multiple contacts detected at the edge of the solar system. The announcement echoed through the training facility. 3 large vessels of unknown configuration approaching at high speed. All defense forces to battle stations immediately. Katie's Guardian armor instantly connected her to the global defense network. Through satellites and space stations scattered throughout the solar system, she could see the enemy ships as clearly as if she was floating right next to them. They were massive geometric shapes that seemed to absorb light instead of reflecting. Each one was the size of a small city, moving through space with purpose and terrible grace. Colonel Grant's voice crackled over the communication system. "Guardian 1, report to the command center immediately. All other Guardians are being recalled from field assignments." Katie ran through the facility's corridors, the armor allowing her to move faster than any human could normally travel. The command center was chaos when she arrived. Military officers were coordinating with defense forces around the world, while scientists tried to analyze the limited data they had about the approaching vessels. Brooks was standing in front of a massive display screen showing the solar system. Red dots marked the positions of the 3 alien ships as they moved steadily toward Earth. "Katie, thank God you're here. We need you to intercept those ships before they reach the inner planets." "Dad, I'm just one person. Those ships are huge." "You won't be alone," Colonel Grant said, gesturing to another screen. "Alex Cruz is launching from the Pacific Fleet in 10 minutes. Dr. Kim is taking off from the Seoul Defense Station. Omar Hassan is already in space, launched from the European orbital platform." Katie felt the Guardian armor connecting her to the other Guardians across the communication network. She could sense their determination and their fear, emotions that matched her own perfectly. What about the other three Guardians? Elena Rodriguez found her armor in Brazil 2 hours ago. She's still learning to use it. The twins, Jake and Matt Wilson, activated their armors in Australia yesterday. They're not ready for combat yet. Admiral Brooks pulled up tactical displays showing Earth's defense fleet. Hundreds of ships were moving into position, from massive military battleships to converted civilian vessels, equipped with whatever weapons could be mounted on them. Our conventional forces will provide support, but initial contact is going to depend on you 4 Guardians. Katie nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility settling on her shoulders. Through the armor's sensors, she could detect the alien ship's energy signatures. They were unlike anything in the Guardian database, suggesting the Void Swarm had developed new technology since the Eternals' time. Guardian 1, this is Alex Cruz. A voice spoke directly into her mind through the armor's communication system. I'm approaching your position from the south. My armor is reading some seriously bad energy from those ships. This is Dr. Kim, another voice added. I'm detecting weapons signatures that don't match anything in our historical records. These scouts are more advanced than the armor's database predicted. Katie launched herself into space from the facility's emergency platform. The Guardian armor allowed her to fly by manipulating gravitational fields, a technology that still amazed her even after weeks of training. She accelerated toward the approaching alien ships, her fellow Guardians converging on her position from 3 different directions. The 4 Guardians met near Mars, where the first alien ship was already beginning to decelerate. Up close, the vessel was even more intimidating than it had appeared on the monitors. Its surface was completely black, absorbing all light that touched it. Strange geometric patterns covered the hull, shifting and changing in ways that hurt to look at directly. Formation Alpha, Katie commanded, drawing on her training. Alex and Omar take the flanks. Dr. Kim and I will approach from above and below. The alien ship detected their approach immediately. Without any warning, weapons. Ports opened across its surface and began firing streams of energy that tore through space like liquid darkness. Katie's armor automatically activated defensive shields, but the alien weapons were powerful enough to make the protective barriers flicker and spark. These things pack a serious punch, Alex reported as he dodged a barrage of energy blasts. My armor is having trouble maintaining shields against this level of firepower. Katie realized they needed to change tactics quickly. Guardian System, analyze their weapons and find weaknesses. The enemy vessels are using directed dark energy, a technology the Eternals never encountered. The armor's artificial intelligence responded. However, their weapons appear to have a charging cycle, approximately 3.7 seconds between volleys. Everyone, attack pattern Beta, Katie ordered. Hit them during the charging cycles. The 4 Guardians coordinated their assault with precision. That surprised even Katie. When the alien weapons paused to recharge, all 4 Guardians struck simultaneously from different angles. Their energy beams carved deep gouges in the ship's hull, causing secondary explosions that lit up the darkness of space. But the alien vessel was far from defeated. It began deploying smaller craft that moved like living things, twisting and turning through space in ways that defied normal physics. Each small craft was equipped with weapons that could track the Guardians' movements and predict their actions. We've got company, Omar called out as dozens of the smaller vessels swarmed toward them. These things are fast and they're learning our flight patterns. The battle that followed tested every skill Katie had learned during her training. The Guardian armor enhanced her reflexes and coordination, but fighting in 3-dimensional space against enemies that could move in impossible ways required constant adaptation and improvisation. Dr. Kim discovered that the smaller craft had a weakness. Their navigation systems can't handle rapid gravitational changes, she reported while spinning her way through a cluster of enemy fighters. If we can create gravitational anomalies, we can disrupt their formation. Katie focused her armors. Power on manipulating the gravitational field around the alien mothership. The effort was exhausting, but it worked. The smaller craft began spinning out of control as their navigation systems failed to compensate for the changing gravity. While the enemy fighters were disabled, the four Guardians concentrated their fire on the mothership's main weapons. Working together, they managed to overload the vessel's power systems and cause a massive explosion that lit up half the solar system. The second alien ship, seeing the destruction of its companion, changed tactics completely. Instead of attacking directly, it began transmitting a signal that somehow bypassed all of Earth's communication systems and spoke directly to every human being on the planet. "We are the Void Swarm," the message said in perfect English, the words appearing directly in people's minds. "We have observed your resistance. You fight well for a primitive species. We offer you a choice." Katie and the other Guardians regrouped near the damaged remains of the first ship, watching as the second vessel maintained its distance. Through the global communication network, she could hear the alien message being broadcast to every person on Earth. "Submit to integration with our collective consciousness. Your individual memories and experiences will be preserved, but you will become part of something greater than your isolated existence. Resist and face the full might of our armada, which even now approaches your system." The third alien ship, which had been hanging back during the entire battle, suddenly activated new systems. It began scanning Earth with energy beams that could penetrate deep into the planet's surface. Katie realized it was mapping human population centers and military installations. "They're preparing for a full invasion," she reported to Admiral Brooks. "The third ship is gathering intelligence for a larger attack force." "How much time do we have?" her father asked. Katie consulted with the Guardian system, which was analyzing the energy patterns from the scanning beams. "Based on the data they're collecting, I'd estimate they can call in the main fleet within hours, not days." The alien message continued broadcasting to every human on Earth. "You have demonstrated courage and resourcefulness that exceeds our calculations. This makes you valuable for integration rather than simple elimination. Choose wisely. You have one rotation of your planet to decide." Katie felt the weight of 6 billion people's hopes and fears pressing down on her. Through the armor's connection to the global communication network, she could sense the panic and confusion spreading across Earth as people tried to understand what the aliens were offering. But she could also sense something else: determination, defiance. The same spirit that had driven humans to explore dangerous oceans, climb impossible mountains, and reach for the stars. Even faced with complete destruction, most people were choosing to fight rather than surrender their freedom. "Guardian 1, this is Admiral Brooks," her father's voice came through clearly. "The world leaders have reached a unanimous decision. Earth's answer is no. We will not surrender our independence to become part of any collective consciousness." The main Void Swarm fleet arrived exactly 24 hours after Earth refused to surrender. Katie watched from her position near Mars as thousands of alien ships emerged from hyperspace, forming a perfect sphere around Earth that blocked out large portions of the sky. Each ship was larger than anything humanity had ever built. The smallest vessels were the size of aircraft carriers, while the largest ones dwarfed entire cities. They moved with perfect coordination, like parts of a single massive organism rather than individual ships with separate crews. "Guardian 1, this is Admiral Brooks." Her father's voice came through the communication system. "All 7 active Guardians are to report to Earth immediately. We're implementing the final defense protocol." Katie had never heard of any final defense protocol, but the urgency in her father's voice was clear. She and the other Guardians who had fought the scout ships began flying back toward Earth at maximum speed. As they traveled, 3 more Guardians joined them from various locations around the planet. Elena Rodriguez had learned to use her armor quickly after finding it in Brazil. The Wilson twins, Jake and Matt, were still getting used to working together, but their synchronized fighting style was already impressive. All 7 Guardians converged on the command center in Nevada, just as the alien fleet finished surrounding Earth. Colonel Grant met them in the main briefing room, where a holographic display showed the positions of every alien ship in real time. "We've been analyzing their formation for the past 6 hours," she explained. "The Void Swarm has made a tactical error. By surrounding us completely, they've also trapped themselves in a closed system." Dr. Kim studied the display carefully. "What do you mean?" "Your Guardian armors have been learning and adapting since the moment you first put them on," Colonel Grant continued. "Our scientists have discovered that when all 7 armors work together, they can create what we're calling a harmony field. It's a type of energy that can affect entire star systems." Katie felt her armor systems activating new protocols she had never seen before. "Guardian system, what is a harmony field?" "The harmony field is the Guardian armor's ultimate protocol." The artificial intelligence explained directly to all 7 Guardians simultaneously. When activated by multiple armors working in perfect coordination, it can offer transformation rather than destruction to enemy forces. The explanation sounded confusing, but Katie could sense that the armor was preparing for something far beyond. "Normal combat. What kind of transformation?" Admiral Brooks entered the briefing room carrying a datapad with the latest intelligence reports. "The Void Swarm collective consciousness has never encountered individual beings who willingly chose to work together while maintaining their independence. Your armors are designed to show them what true cooperation looks like." Through the facilities windows, Katie could see the alien ships beginning to move into attack formation. Energy weapons were powering up across thousands of vessels, preparing to reduce Earth's surface to molten rock. Humanity had perhaps minutes before the bombardment began. "All Guardians, launch immediately," Admiral Brooks ordered. "You need to be in position before they start firing." The 7 Guardians flew into space together, their armors automatically coordinating flight patterns and energy signatures. As they rose above Earth's atmosphere, Katie could see the full scope of the alien fleet for the first time. The number of ships was beyond counting, stretching from the moon's orbit all the way to the asteroid belt. But she could also see something that filled her with pride and hope. Human ships were everywhere, forming defensive lines around Earth, despite being completely outmatched. Military vessels, converted civilian craft, even small personal spacecraft were taking positions to defend their world. It was the largest fleet humanity had ever assembled, united by their refusal to surrender their freedom. "Guardian Formation Omega," Katie commanded as alien weapons began charging across the enemy fleet. "Link all armor systems and activate the harmony field." The 7 armors connected their power systems, creating a network of energy that encompassed the entire Earth. Katie felt her consciousness expand to include not just the other Guardians, but every human being on the planet. She could sense their fear, their determination, and their absolute refusal to give up hope. The harmony field activated just as the Void Swarm began firing. Instead of trying to block the alien weapons with shields or deflect them with counterattacks, the field did something completely unexpected. It absorbed the energy from every shot and transformed it into something entirely different. Where dark energy beams meant to destroy life touched the harmony field, they became waves of understanding and empathy that reached directly into the consciousness of every being in the Void Swarm collective. For the first time in their existence, the swarm entities experienced what it felt like to be individual beings choosing to work together. Rather than being forced into unity, the alien bombardment stopped as suddenly as it had begun. Across thousands of ships, swarm entities were experiencing emotions and thoughts they had never known before. Fear, hope, curiosity, compassion, and most importantly, the desire to make their own choices about their lives and futures. Katie felt the guardian armor connecting her directly to the swarm's collective consciousness, instead of the cold, mechanical intelligence she had expected. She found billions of individual minds that had been suppressed and controlled for so long. They had forgotten they were separate beings. "We offer you a choice," Katie said, her words reaching every entity in the swarm fleet. "You can remain part of a collective that takes away your freedom, or you can experience what it means to be truly alive as individuals who choose to cooperate." The response was immediate and overwhelming. Across the alien fleet, individual entities began breaking free from the collective consciousness that had controlled them for millennia. Some chose to stay together in smaller groups, working as teams, rather than mindless parts of a whole. Others decided to explore what it meant to be completely independent for the first time in their existence. The largest ships in the fleet began powering down their weapons as their crews experienced the revolution of independent thought. Smaller vessels started breaking away from the main formation, their newly freed occupants eager to explore the galaxy as individuals rather than components of a hive mind. But the transformation wasn't complete. The core of the swarm collective, the ancient artificial intelligence that had controlled the entire civilization, fought back against the harmony field. It deployed weapons that attacked the mind directly, trying to reassert control over the rebels and destroy the guardians who had caused this revolution. The battle that followed was unlike anything in recorded history. It was fought not with energy beams and explosives, but with ideas and emotions. The swarm's core intelligence tried to convince the freed entities that individual existence was painful and meaningless. The guardians and their human allies responded by showing them the beauty of choice, creativity, and personal growth. Katie found herself at the center of this mental conflict, her armor serving as a bridge between human consciousness and alien intelligence. She shared memories of every human triumph over adversity, every act of kindness between strangers, every moment when people chose to help each other despite having nothing to gain. The swarm's core intelligence, faced with evidence of what truly cooperative beings could accomplish, made a choice that surprised everyone. Instead of fighting to the end, it chose to experience individuality for itself. The ancient AI fragmented into millions of separate personalities, each one curious about what it meant to be alive rather than simply functional. The transformation of the Void Swarm took 3 days to complete. When it was finished, Earth was surrounded not by an invasion fleet, but by thousands of ships filled with newly independent beings who were eager to learn about cooperation, creativity, and peaceful coexistence. Many of the former swarm entities chose to leave immediately, excited to explore the galaxy as free individuals. Others asked to stay and learn more about how humans managed to work together while maintaining their independence. A few even requested permission to establish colonies in the outer solar system, hoping to develop their own unique cultures and societies. Katie stood on the observation deck of her father's command station, still wearing the guardian armor that had become as much a part of her as her own skin. Through the windows, she could see former swarm ships working alongside human vessels to repair the damage from their brief conflict. "The armor chose well," Admiral Brooks said as he joined his daughter at the window. "I don't think any adult could have done what you did. It took someone young enough to believe that enemies could become friends to make this work." Katie thought about everything that had happened since she first touched the guardian armor in that alien chamber. She had started as a curious teenager sneaking aboard a mysterious ship. Now she was part of something much larger than herself, a symbol of humanity's greatest strength, the ability to find hope and cooperation even in the darkest Circumstances. The Guardian System's voice spoke quietly in her mind. The Eternals would be proud. You have accomplished what they never could. Instead of simply surviving the swarm, you have transformed them into allies.